What's up, guys? It's Qinghe, and happy Sunday! Welcome to another reading of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, Volume 1, Chapter 5. We're making our way through this. We're about halfway through. I've got baby Hua Chung accompanying me today. Ah! Oh no! Shoop. Perfect. But first things first, I gotta tell you guys about the freaking crazy weekend I just had. Because it was nuts. So, I was lucky enough to go to the freaking Ren Fair this weekend. And it was like a surprise. Like, we knew we were gonna maybe go to one of the Ren Fair's after parties. But we ended up, we went to the after party, which is fucking crazy, by the way. Mead will fuck you up. How hungover are you? Well, it's been a long day. It was so much fun. It was like, the thing that was different from Anime Con is that, well, like, it's outside, but everybody's, like, majority of people are cosplaying, like, original characters, or just like the vibe. Like, everybody was dressed up, like everyone. Maybe the whole weekend I probably saw like 2 people in t-shirts and jeans, but also like that's totally fine. But everybody was in at least like a tunic, you know, like a tunic with a cool belt or like something. Even if it was like low effort, you could tell it was supposed to be some sort of Renaissance fit. But there's so many different ways that you can like go about it, right? So I literally had like a tunic-y shirt or whatever, like a drawstring shirt, and I wore my Blackwater cosplay belt and my Hua Chung cosplay like bottom robes. So it was just kind of like whatever. I was like, I don't know, I'm like a warrior or something. And it was just so much fun. It was so much fun. And the thing I was gonna say about like anime cons, it's like, well, we're all fucking nerds, and there's definitely a huge overlap of people that like anime and that like Ren Fair stuff, is that since like people aren't cosplaying from a specific thing, like most people, I feel like everybody was encouraged to like chat more. You know, like if you're at an anime con and you see people and they're cosplaying as a character you don't know, like you could always go up to them and compliment them or whatever, but it was like at the Ren Fair, everybody had something in common with everyone, and that is that you were all at the Ren Fair, and you could be as in character or out of character as you wanted to be. So it was just freaking, it was so awesome. I had so much fun. I ate a whole turkey leg. We watched jousting. And the best part is I went with my friend who was Hua Chung for both days, and she looked amazing. And I think she made a few girls' lives dancing as Hua Chung with them. Esper Lady, thank you so much for your donation. Esper Lady says, "Yay, Ren Fair is the best. So glad you guys got to go. That is awesome." Yeah, it was so much fun. It was like so last minute, but that was so much fun. And thank you for your donation. And Kenzie is here. I was curious if you guys were going to be here or if you're going to be popping in, because Kenzie and Briarbox got married today. Isn't that amazing? Oh my god, Kenzie, thank you so much for your donation on your wedding day. What? Kenzie says, "Hello from the married rat sister and Briar. We are so happy, and we wouldn't be this happy if not for you and Stitch. Can we get a 6 balls in the chat? Live from the Cheesecake Factory." Oh my god, the Cheesecake Factory is amazing. Dude, that is amazing. Congrats on getting married. That is so wonderful, and it's so cute that you guys met through my streams, which is just hilarious. Like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm involved in this somehow. That's amazing. If you want to tell us any more details about it, like, please. That's amazing. Oh my god. We love you guys so much, and just huge congrats, Kenzie and Briarbox. We love you guys. That's amazing. I love. God. That's awesome. Congrats and 6 balls. Neko Me has been a member for 1 month. Thank you so much. And says, "Hi, Kictor. Glad the Ren Fair was so fun. I wish I could go to one, but I work too much to go looking for one." Oh, I hope you can go one day. It's really, really worth it if you can. There were also fire dancers. It was so cool. Andrea said, "I sent you the white envelope that you showed last Wednesday." You can open it whenever. Okay. Do you want me to open it now? Mars Barband says, "I wish there was a cultivation LARP." That would be fun. That would be really fun. Empire's Prince said, "Did you see Little Girl Big Show?" We did! We saw Little Girl Big Show. And then it was the Spice Boys. And then, the Fire Show. And then we saw the jousting as well. Andrea, how about I hang on to this for a members chat so that I can open it with Stitch? And then I'll read it. I'm so excited to open it, though. Thank you so much for sending me something. It's so sweet of you. Sugar Kiss says, "I saw Little Girl Big Show before, too." Yeah, she juggled fire on a unicycle and then, like, ate the fire. It was fucking awesome. Yep. Me and Hua Chung watched it together. And also, oh my god, okay, I gotta tell you guys about the compliments I got at the Ren Fair. I have to tell you. Because 2 or 3 people actually recognized me as Kictor and, like, came up and were like, "Oh my god, are you Kictor?" And that was they were so sweet. One random person just said they liked my hair, and I was like, that's the best compliment I could ever receive ever. Thank you so much. But I was dancing with Stitch, like, we were just joking around and smiling and dancing, like, not thinking anything of it. And after we kind of took a break, this girl came up to me and was like, "I just need to tell you, you and like your partner are so cute." And I was like, oh my god, like, I can't believe that people think Stitch and I are so cute that they have the desire to tell us. Like, that shocked me. I thought it was so funny. Like, it was just so sweet. Like, I get it. If you see Stitch is a gorgeous, amazing, perfect person. Like, she's fucking ethereal in real life. So I think it does something to people when they see her. Hey, Emma! Oh god. Yeah, it was cool because there were actually a few people that we saw in Hanfu, or even like historical Chinese garments and stuff. And there was even a woman as we were leaving last night. She was playing the flute and she was in Hanfu, and we were kind of like, oh my god, that's so fucking awesome. And she was playing with this other guy playing piano, and everybody kind of circled around them. We're all singing along. It was awesome. Briarbox says, it was such a beautiful day. We got to celebrate live with some kickflips on a call. We loved being able to thank you and KK, especially since you're such treasured friends. Love y'all. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my god. Oh, that's wonderful. That is the best. Oh my god. We love you guys so much. We love your love so much, too. Kate says, I'm honestly nervous to be blinded by Stitch's immaculate cheekbones in September. I may need to bring sunglasses. It's true. Not only, listen, she has like the fucking trifecta. She's got immaculate cheekbones, she has an insane jawline, and she has dimples. Like, I don't have any of those! Quinn says, can we see the bear claw? Oh man, my stuff is all... I haven't really been able to organize it yet, but I can show you this. Somebody actually came up to me, and this was a really cool person, and they had a bunch of sea glass and sea ceramics, and they were making necklaces, like, on the spot, and because they had previously drilled all the holes themselves, and would just give you a necklace, and I thought that was so fucking cool, and I got to pick... I got my favorite color. And this is an actual piece of, like, ceramic that's washed up on the beach. That's something I actually didn't know about at Ren Fairs, is that everybody hands out stuff to each other. Like, everybody's handing out trinkets and shit to each other. Kate says she is Jing Guanyao. Yes, she is just as cunning, too. Holy trifecta, right? Oh my god. Like, literally sometimes we were at the mall earlier and I literally, like, this is proof of, like, how obsessed I am with Stitch. Like, you thought I was obsessed with Heaven Official's Blessing. I'm just out with her sometimes and I'm like, stop, I need to just take a picture of you because you look so hot right now. And I do it all the time. Like, oh my god, her side profile is just, like, it's just hot. Oh my god, I was just like, the way your hair is just flipping right now, like, throw a filter on that, put it on Pinterest, it'd go viral. Empire's Prince says, Kichter is the ultimate wife guy. Yes. Oh god. I love my future wife. Annika says, that's so cool. I've always wanted to do that with all the sea glass I've collected. Yeah. Oh my gosh. We love sea glass. Kate says, pictures of Stitch on your phone? Very you of you. Hey, you ends up deleting that photo. Oh my gosh. Leo says, I just got back from the music festival I was at, and it was actually pretty similar to the Ren Fair. There was a bunch of people dressed up, and it was an awesome... Only downside is now I've got a headache. Oh my god, right? Man, I've had a headache all day. I think that was from the mead, though. The mead we had was called Dragon's Blood, and it was so fucking awesome. Oh my god. Miss Rosie says, so many exciting things happened this weekend. Wow. Also, I think I finally figured out the package situation, so it should be there next time you go. Oh, amazing. Okay, sweet. I'm excited. I'll be sure to go tomorrow. Thank you so much, Miss Rosie. Oh my goodness. And thank you for your donation, too. I'm very excited for your package. Kate says, wow, spoiler. JK, I just read that part. Yes. Oh yeah, also, Stitch and I went to the mall, actually, to pick up the book Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, because the novel of it is out now. Cookielicious says, will you be reacting to more revenged love? I've been thinking about it. That video got really good views, so clearly people are really enjoying it. The thing is, like, it's so long, so, like, how do you kind of go about reacting to a series like that? I don't know. Something I do want to make content about is the summer Hikaru died. I have already, like, watched the first 2 episodes, but I still could do, like, a review / like, react to it, just because it's, like, really good, and I've read the manga. Briarback says, those videos of the Ren Fair were such fun to watch. I loved seeing you with the Gojo backpacks at the movie. Sorry for any spelling mistakes. My blood sugar is being terrible today. Oh my god, I hope your blood sugar is okay. Oh yeah, I also went and saw the Jujutsu Kaisen, like, season 2 recap movie. It was really good. Oh, the scene, they added a little intro comedy scene, and then the outro fucking... Oh my god, the outro was so sad with all the pictures of Gojo and Geto and Shoko and they were innocent before everything happened. Oh god, it was so good. And I was with some friends that just, like, love Jujutsu Kaisen so much, so it was really, really fun. Actually, my friend that makes a lot of merch, Tariki, like, she makes a bunch of pins. You definitely know her art from being in the danmei community. She got recognized at the theater, which is so funny. Are you gonna review the spicy yaoi? I think it's called Naughty Kisame or something. You know, that sounds kind of familiar. I don't know if I fully know what that is, though. It's like, there's, like, actual, like, porn in it, right? Esper Lady says, I saw the first episode of Revenge Love, and Blackwater's actor is so good at being angsty. Ooh, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he is very hot. Ali Bree says, have you started Run Wild Volume 2? Yes, I have. That is what I'm reading currently. I kind of went back and forth between books because I read Case File and then I was reading Run Wild, but then Arha came out. I don't have a huge excuse because I definitely had a gap of time where I could have read Run Wild, but I've been busy. Jun says, thinking about sending a random set of chibi drawings to you. Would there be any specific characters you might want? Thinking of also making them like little popsicle stick puppets. That is cute. Well, I do love Hualien and I love Beef Leaf. If you're thinking, Heaven Official's Blessing. Kate Stitch is also, like, you know, having to kind of power through Peerless a bit right now. It's like she read Arham one day, but Peerless is like, it's like you gotta kind of consciously read it. I think, different books have different vibes, I guess. Cookielicious, Case File 5 is so good. I can't wait to make the video on that as well. Annika says, I'm making my way through Arha 9. I love treating my real-life depression with fictional depression. Oh, fuck. Annika, did you get to, like, the scene? Cat's Cow says, it's taking me so long to get through Stars of Chaos. That's another one. That's another one that I know, you know, some people kind of struggle with. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes it can be hard to just sit down and read if it's not, like, flowing. Kate says, I put Peerless on hold so I could read Case File for you. I love Peerless so far. Oh, okay. Sorry for assuming. I'm glad you're reading Case File, though. Night Owl says, you're the only reason I got through some of these novels. Annika says, I don't think so. Everyone's still alive where I'm at, so I'm suspicious. Yeah, it's crazy that, like, everything in that novel, even the opening, is still just so fucking sad. Ugh. Cat's Cow says 1,000 Autumns is slow. Yeah, it's true. I want to read 1,000 Autumns. K-Moment says, Arha nearly destroyed me. Yeah. Well, you know, hopefully we can get through Modazushi in a pretty good timeline. Cassandra says, long-time watcher, first-time commenter. I really appreciate you doing these chapter readings. I have a blind friend I've been wanting to get into Modazushi because I know he'll love it. I'm gonna compile... Oh my god! Well, I appreciate I'm assuming that you're gonna send the rest of your message, but I appreciate you saying that. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Night Owl says, we never finished the Thousand Autumns Donghua. I know. Also, the other day when we were just, like, recovering from our night out, we watched, like, all of Scum Villain, pretty much. And I was like, oh my god, now that I know the characters, it hits different. Yeah, it's different. Between all the different danmei novels, they kind of do the extras, like, differently. Sometimes it's a bunch, sometimes it's like a... Well, the extra for Yuwu is just like an AU. It's like what Meat Bun, like, had another idea for what the story could be. No worries, Cassandra. Danny, thank you for your donation, Danny. My first ever message, but I've been watching for a long time. You made reading these long books so much easier. By the way, Genshin when? Oh, I know. I gotta get back on my Genshin grind. I feel like every time I've had the time to do a live stream, like to play Genshin, I'm like, I could just read because I'm like eager to keep reading Murazushi, but I promise I wanna play it for sure. These last, like, couple of weeks and these upcoming weeks are kind of crazy for Stitch and I because we have a bunch of stuff planned. We are going to Montana for a week on Wednesday. So we're going to have to do the members only stream Tuesday this week. And then we are next week at Anime Revolution in Vancouver. And then I think our August is chill. Kate says, we need a separate day for gaming stream nights. Yeah. Night Owl says, Texas Roadhouse? We didn't go. We didn't have time. Broccoli Fox says, I've not read much for some months. Really not had the mental energy to do anything on my own I'd normally be interested in. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Brock. I hope you can get that mental energy back. Kate says, when I first joined, we were watching The Thousand Autumns Donghua. Now it's been a year since I read it, and we still haven't finished watching. You know, I feel like we just have such limited time to hang out and stuff that setting up the live watch party, it's like, it's just a little bit tedious, you know? I'd rather play a game. And I'm also like, I want to be able to show the subtitles, but also don't want to get like a copyright strike, and then setting it up so that Stitch and I can also both hear the audio and also monitor the live stream. It's honestly, it's a lot. It's a little bit stressful. So I feel like other live streams are more fun to do than like a watch along thing. It's like YouTube isn't really the best for that. Fun fact for Genshin, it's Child's birthday today. Oh my god, happy birthday, Child. Kate says, Gartic and Frantic Fanfic are more fun anyway. Yeah. Thank you for your donation, Quinn, for Child's birthday. Oh, Brock. Well, I think you're amazing, Brock, and I know you're amazing. Wizard of Moss says, I started my new job today. Oh, how was that, Wizard of Moss? Glad to hear. Orion has been a member for 6 months. Thank you so much. And says, hi, I'm so depressed I missed the Cloud Recesses flashback. 3 months till I'm born. Yes. Oh, you're just still in there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do we have, what happened last chapter? Wei Wuxian was being a little shit and got kicked out of the cloud recesses. Oh yeah, and he went on full on like I'm gonna fuck with Lan Wangji mode. And brought him the bunnies and was like, I'm gonna eat them. And then Lan Wangji was like, don't eat them, give them to me. And then they were like humping each other or something. And then Wei Wuxian was like, haha, look at what they're doing. And Lan Wangji was like, they're both boys. And Wei Wuxian was like, how do you know they're both boys? And Lan Qichen this whole time is like, Wei Wuxian, you should hang out with Lan Wangji. Ugh. Wizard of Moss watched the Kenzie box wedding. Oh, that's so sweet. Kohaku, I won't be going through Michigan to get to Montana, and I don't know what Faygo is, but it sounds good. Night Owl says, Lan Qichen being Lan Wangji's best wingman. Yes, honestly. Absolutely. Crystal Long says, Wei Ying is such a little stinker. It's true. Such a little stinker. Oh, wait. Okay, I remember. The big plot thing that happened is that Jin Sixuan was like, I don't want to marry Yanli. And then Wei Wuxian and Zheng Cheng were like, why the fuck don't you want to marry Yanli? She's the coolest. And then Jin Sixuan was still being like a prick. And Wei Wuxian punched him. And then they invited Jin Sixuan and Zheng Feng, or was it Jin Guanshan and Zheng Fengmian, like Zheng Cheng's dad and Jin Sixuan's dad, and they were like, should we just call off the wedding? Yeah. Yeah, the Yanli drama. But now, I do believe we are back in the current timeline. So, is this chapter super long? Or is it a short one? Oh, it's not. Someone do quick math. 205 to 243. Cat's Cow says, I'm excited to spend this stream making Kenzie and Briar's wedding gift. Oh, that's so sweet. 38 pages. Okay, we'll see how far we go. The last chapter was crazy long. It took us like three or four streams, I guess, to get through it. All right, let's lock in. Okay, chapter 5, The Sunny Pair. Wei Wuxian had lain there like that on his stomach the entire night. The first half of the night was spent wondering what exactly had happened to Lan Wangji, and it wasn't until the second half that he finally fell into a bleary sleep. Early the next morning, when he opened his eyes, Lan Wangji had already gone without a trace. He himself was laid out properly on the bed, both his hands placed by his sides, arranged into a mannerly and respectable pose. I want to see the scene of Lan Wangji waking up and then being like, oh my god, he's here with me, and then having to leave and arranging him. Okay, Kate, see ya. I'm keeping you silent company. I love it. Wei Wuxian threw off the blanket, covering him, and tangled the fingers of his right hand in his hair. An unexplainable, absurd, and horrifying feeling plagued his mind, and it could not be dispersed. Just then, there were two soft knocks on the wooden door to the tranquility room. Lan Sijue's voice came from the other side. Mo Gongzi, are you awake? What are you calling me so early for? Wei Wuxian answered. Early? But it's already Ce time, Lan Sizue replied. The Lans all rose at Mao and rested at Hai, extremely regular. Wei Wuxian rose at Ce and rested at Chao, also very regular. And later than the Lan family by exactly 4 hours. He had lain on his stomach for half the night and his back was aching, so he answered honestly, I can't get up. What's wrong with you now? Lan Sijue asked. Now? What's wrong with me? Your sex Hengwen Jun made me sleep with him, that's what! Wei Wuxian exclaimed. Oh my god. Oh my god. Lan Jingyi's truculent voice sounded out. If you won't stop that nonsense of yours, I won't forgive you. Come out. Wei Wuxian cried out, aggrieved. It's true! He forced me to sleep with him all night long. I'm not coming out. I'm too ashamed. The juniors looked at each other in dismay. Others were not to enter Hengwen Jun's living quarters. They didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but they had no way of going in directly to haul the man out. Lan Jingyi yelled angrily, How shameless! Hengwen Jun isn't a cut sleeve? Him? Sleeping with you? If you weren't the one forcing yourself on him, he'd thank the heavens. Get up! Take that donkey of yours away and control it. It's so noisy. Wow. Wow. Lan Wangji is not a cut sleeve. Him sleeping with you? That's hilarious. About that. Having heard his steed mentioned, Wei Wuxian quickly rolled out of bed. What did you do to my little apple? Don't touch it. It throws tantrums, and its kicks are something fierce. Kate, thank you for gifting a membership. Thank you so much. What did you do to my little apple? Don't touch it. It throws tantrums, and its kicks are something fierce. What little apple? Lan Jingyi questioned. My donkey, Wei Wuxian said, emerging from the tranquility room. He shooed the juniors until they took him to his steed. They led him to a green pasture where, sure enough, the spotted donkey was braying non-stop, incredibly loud. The reason it was braying was because it wanted to graze, but the pasture had over a dozen round white fluff balls crowding about, keeping it from eating. Wei Wuxian was delighted. So many rabbits! Come, come, come! Skewer and roast them! Lan Jingyi was going to explode. Killing is prohibited in the cloud recesses. Shut that donkey up quickly. The morning study groups came to ask so many times. Keep this up and we'll get lectured to death. Wei Wuxian fed it the apple from his breakfast, and sure enough, once the spotted donkey started chomping on the fruit, it no longer cared to bray, instead filling the air with crunching as it ground its lips. Wei Wuxian stroked the back of its neck, scheming about the juniors' jade travel tokens. He pointed at the round white balls of rabbits. Can we really not roast them? Would I get kicked out of the mountain if I did? Lan Jingyi was greatly alarmed and hastily opened his arms, blocking him. They're kept by Hengwen Jun. We only help watch them occasionally. Don't you dare! They're Lan Wangji's bunnies. Ah! And we know where he got them. Lan Jingyi was greatly alarmed, and okay, Wei Wuxian almost fell to the ground, laughing when he heard this, thinking, geez, this guy, he rejected the rabbits back when I tried to give them to him, and now he secretly raised a whole horde? Don't want them? Who's he kidding? Good gods, help me, he actually secretly likes those fluffy little white things, right? That stiff-faced Hengwen Jun holding a rabbit. Oh god, I just can't. But then he remembered how he had spent the previous night lying on top of Lan Wangji, and he suddenly couldn't laugh anymore. Just then, tolling bells sounded from the west side of the cloud recesses. The sound of this bell was vastly different from the bell that marked the hours. It was hurried and intense, as if a madman who had lost his mind was pounding it. Lan Jingyi and Lan Sijue's faces fell drastically, and not bothering to joke around with him any longer, they ran off, leaving him. Wei Wuxian knew something was wrong and quickly followed after them. The sound of the bell had come from one of the corner watchtowers. This watchtower was called the Nether Room, and its walls had been fabricated from special material and sealed with spells. It was a building the lands used for summoning souls. When the bell atop this corner watchtower started tolling wildly, it meant only one thing. Whoever was conducting a soul summoning ritual inside had met with an accident. Outside the corner watchtower, more and more Lan juniors and sect disciples had gathered, but none dared recklessly enter. The entrance to the Nether Room was a set of pitch-black wooden doors that were firmly locked, and they could only be opened from the inside. Not only would it be difficult to break in from the outside, but it would also violate the rules. To have accidents happen during a soul summoning ritual was a terrifying thing. I'm picturing, like, the fucking, the Ed and Al transmigration circle moment. No one knew what might come from the summoning, or what would happen should they recklessly enter. Furthermore, there had never been any failures in soul summoning since the establishment of the Nether Room, which made this even more distressing. Wei Wuxian noticed Lan Wangji didn't show up and felt a sense of foreboding. If Lan Wangji was still in the cloud recesses, he should have come immediately when he heard the alarm bells go off. Unless... Suddenly, the black doors burst open with a bang, and with a white-clad sect disciple came stumbling out. His steps were unsteady, and the moment he charged out, he rolled off the stairs. The doors to the nether room closed on their own immediately after, slamming shut like they had been angered. The others hurried to help the sect disciple up, but when he stood, he immediately slumped down again, his face streaming with uncontrollable tears. He clutched at whoever he could. It shouldn't have been summoned. It took my arm, and it took Al's body. Wei Wuxian seized his hand and demanded darkly, "What creature's soul are you guys summoning? Who else is in there? Where's Heng Guanjun?" Aw, he was worried about him. The sect disciple seemed to have difficulty breathing. He opened his mouth. "Heng Guanjun told me to run." Before he finished, bright red blood gushed from his nose and his mouth. Wei Wuxian shoved this person into Lan Sijue's arms. The roughly made bamboo flute was still stuck on his waist. He ran up the many-layered stairs in a mere few strides, then kicked the doors to the nether room open, and shouted bitingly... Then kicked the doors to the nether room and shouted bitingly, "Open!" The grand doors of the nether room opened abruptly like they were laughing maniacally. Wei Wuxian swiftly ducked inside, and the grand doors closed immediately after him. Shocked, the sect disciples quickly rushed over too, but no matter how hard they tried, the doors would not budge. One of the guest cultivators pounded on the door in both shock and fury. He blurted out, "Who exactly was that?" Lan Sijue was carrying the sect disciple. He said, his teeth clenched, "Come give me a hand first. He's bleeding from his apertures." Oh, not his apertures. The moment Wei Wuxian entered the nether room, he could sense an oppressive black energy assault his face. The black energy seemed to be a combination of resentment, anger, and madness. It was almost visible to the eye, and within its enwrapment, the pressure caused a dull pain in his chest. The nether room was over 10 meters in length and width, and a few people lay slumped and unconscious in the four corners of the room. Within the array formation in the center of the room, there stood the object of the soul summoning. Only an arm. There was nothing else. It was the one brought back from the Mo Manor. It stood upright like a stick. Its stump was planted in the ground, while four of its fingers were clenched into a fist. The index finger pointed to the sky, appearing to point at someone in rage. The endless stream of black energy that filled the room seemed to be emitting from the arm. Those who participated in the soul summoning ritual had all either run away or collapsed. Only upon the presiding host's seat in the east corner was there one who sat upright and proper, Lan Wangji. An old Guqin was laid out next to him. His hand wasn't on the strings, yet they vibrated and strummed continuously on their own. At first, he seemed to be deep in thought, or perhaps he was focused on listening to something. Only when he noticed an intruder did he look up. Lan Wangji appeared unperturbed. Wei Wuxian couldn't tell what he was thinking. Lan Qiren, who had assumed a position in the array, had already collapsed. Just like that sect leader disciple who had run out of the nether room, he was bleeding from his apertures and thoroughly unconscious. Wei Wuxian took over his position, swiftly stepping into the west seat. He pulled out the bamboo flute at his waist, raising it to its lips, matching Lan Wangji from the opposite end. That night at the Mo Manor, Wei Wuxian had perturbed the creature with his whistling before Lan Wangji struck it with its Guqin notes from afar, suppressing the arm because the two had unintentionally joined forces. Lan Wangji met his eyes, understood, and raised his right hand. This would be so sexy. Like, oh my god, like, playing music with someone is already so magical, but being able to play music with someone with literal magic, and it's, like, so powerful you can control evil forces together, like, that's fucking so cool. A series of notes strummed forth, and Wei Wuxian immediately joined his flute in harmony. The song they played was called Evocation. Using the corpse, a part of the corpse, or a beloved item of the deceased, as the medium, the soul of the dead would come forth at the sound of the music. Wei Wuxian's wig says, "I bet it really turns them on." Usually, only a segment was needed before the soul would appear within the array, yet, though the two were almost done playing, nothing heeded their call. Veins popped along the body of the arm. It seemed to be angered, and the oppressive feeling in the air became even thicker. If it had been someone else guarding the west side, they would have collapsed from the pressure by now, and unable to escape the same bloody end as Lan Qiren. Inwardly, Wei Wuxian was alarmed. The idea his duet of evocation with Mdzs still couldn't call forth the soul of the deceased was practically impossible, unless the soul of this deceased was split along with its corpse. It appeared that this good buddy was just a mite more tragic than him. Back then, although Wei Wuxian's corpse had been ripped apart, at the very least his soul still remained intact. Since evocation was ineffective, Mdzs altered the melody that his fingers plucked and began playing a different song. This song was serene and peaceful, vastly different from that eerie, interrogative melody from earlier. It was entitled Rest. Both these songs were widespread and renowned within the cultivation world. It wasn't suspicious for the average person to know the tunes, so Wei Wuxian very naturally joined in. The name of the Yiling patriarch's ghost flute was Chen Qing, and its mighty reputation was spread far and wide. At this moment, he joined in chorus using a bamboo flute and purposefully played with ample errors, lacking breath, incredibly discordant to the ears. Mdzs had probably never played a duet with anyone so awful. After a while, finally unable to continue to play as if nothing was the matter, Mdzs looked up at him with an expressionless face. With his thick skin, Wei Wuxian pretended not to notice, letting the melody go further and further off tune. Just as he was about to continue playing, something bizarre suddenly occurred behind him. He turned his head to look and was instantly taken aback. Lan Qiren, who had already lost consciousness, was surprisingly sitting upright, his face bleeding and smoking from all apertures, his goatee, his voice, and even the finger that was pointing at Wei Wuxian all shook as he cried hoarsely with all his might, "Stop playing! Get out! Get out now! Do not!" He didn't finish his instructions regarding what not to do before he spat a mouthful of blood and collapsed once more, sinking into oblivion anew. Mdzs commented, ... Wei Wuxian gaped. The fact he was playing so bad it woke up Lan Qiren is so funny. He knew what came after Lan Qiren's do not play anymore, do not play a duet, do not defile his beloved student Wanji's music. Their Guqin and flute duet had actually forcibly roused Lan Qiren from anger alone, then forcibly knocked him out from anger alone, which made it apparent just how awful Wei Wuxian sounded. But even so, the arm still slowly drooped from the combined suppression of the flute and Guqin. Wei Wuxian, feeling no shame whatsoever, thought, if it sounds bad, as long as it's effective. The last note of the strings came to a stop, and instantly the doors of the nether room sprang open, sunlight spilling in. It was probably because the alarm bell atop the corner watchtower had stopped that the junior and sect disciples who gathered outside the nether room came rushing in. All of a sudden, everyone was calling, "Hingguanjun!" Mdzs pressed his hand on the strings, stopping the lingering sound of the resonance, then stood up to go check on Lan Qiren's pulse. With him taking the lead, the others quickly calmed down. Several of the elders laid flat, the ones inside the nether room who were bleeding, carrying out the medical treatment. Several of the elders laid flat the ones inside the nether room who were bleeding, carrying out medical treatment. While they applied acupuncture needles and administered medicine, another group of sect disciples came carrying a bronze bell with plans of trapping that arm inside it. While the scene was busy, everything was orderly and no one clamored nor made noise. Someone asked, concerned, "Hingguanjun, neither of the medical pills or needles work. What should be done?" Mdzs still had 3 fingers placed on Lan Qiren's pulse, silent, brows furrowed. Lan Qiren had conducted innumerable soul-summoning rituals involving no shortage of malicious ghosts and fierce spirits, but even he'd been injured by the backlash of resentful energy. It said much about just how dreadful the resentment of this ghost arm was. Resentment in a league practically never seen before. Wei Wuxian stuck the bamboo flute back on his waist and crouched down next to that bronze bell, stroking the golden character engraved upon it. He was just thinking when suddenly he noticed Lan Sijue's downcast expression. "What's wrong?" Lan Sijue already knew he was no ordinary person. He said softly, somewhat hesitantly, "Just feeling a little guilty, that's all." "Guilty about what?" Wei Wuxian asked. "That ghost arm was coming for us," Lan Sijue asked. Wei Wuxian smiled. "And how do you know that?" Different grades of spirit attraction flags have different ways to draw them up, and different powers. The flags we drew at the Mo estate only had a working radius of 2.5 kilometers, but that ghost arm was heavy with killing intent and consumed flesh and blood. If it had been within the working perimeters from the start, with its level of aggression, the Mo estate would have been flowing with blood already, but it only appeared after we arrived, which means it must have been thrown into that location intentionally at the precise time by someone with malicious intent. You've learned your lessons well. That's a pretty good analysis, Wei Wuxian said. Lan Sizhui hung his head. If that was the case, then we'll probably have to take responsibility for the lives lost at the Mo estate. And now even Lan Xiangxiang and the others got mixed up in things, falling unconscious like this. Another brief moment of silence. Wei Wuxian patted his shoulder. The one who should take responsibility isn't you guys, but whoever unleashed the ghost arm. There are some things in this world that can't be controlled. On the other end, Lan Wangji withdrew his hand, and the Lan family members quickly asked after Lan Xiren. "Han Guanzhun, how is he?" Lan Wangji replied, "Trace the origins." "That's right, trace the origins," Wei Wuxian said. "Naturally, once we find the complete corpse of this ghost arm and make clear its identity, there'll be a way to save them." Although Lan Qinghe already knew Wei Wuxian was definitely not a lunatic, he still couldn't help speaking to him in a berating tone. "You make it sound so easy. Its soul won't heed summoning, and after all this chaos, where do we even go looking?" "The northwest," Lan Wangji said. Lan Sizhui asked curiously, "The northwest? Why the northwest, Han Guanzhun?" "Didn't it already point that way for all of you to see?" Wei Wuxian said. Lan Jingyi was confused. "Point the way for us? Who? Han Guanzhun didn't point at anything." "It did," Wei Wuxian said. "Road trip." Only then did the group discover that what he meant was the ghost arm. That arm was firmly pointing in a particular direction. Someone tried changing its position, but it resolutely turned back around, returning to the original direction. No one had ever witnessed such a situation before, and all were stunned. Lan Jingyi stammered, "It? What? What is it pointing at?" "What else could it be pointing at?" Wei Wuxian said. "It's either the rest of its body parts or the perp who left it like this." Having heard this, the youths who had just so happened to be standing in the northwest quickly scurried away. Lan Wangji glanced at Wei Wuxian, then slowly rose to his feet. He turned to the sect disciples. "Settle Shufu properly." The disciples nodded. "Yes, sir! Will you be descending the mountain then?" As Lan Wangji gave a light nod, Wei Wuxian had already snuck behind him, vocally talking to himself, sounding very pleased. "Good, good, good. Now we can finally go down the mountain and elope!" The group grimaced, and the other sect disciples were especially horrified, but the few youths were more or less used to it now. Oh my god, when you've been so gay and obnoxious that the youths are just used to it. There was only Lan Xiren on the ground, whose face seemed to have twitched subconsciously. A thought came to all of them. Maybe if that person talks a bit more, Lan Xiangxiang will be angered and awake again. When leaders of prominent cultivation clans joined night hunts, there was often great fanfare with ample pomp. However, Lan Wangji had always preferred coming and going alone. Ha! In addition, this arm was evil and strange, and it could easily harm others, and should there be the slightest carelessness. And so he brought neither clan juniors nor sect disciples with him, only Wei Wuxian. The watch kept on him was keener than ever. At first, Wei Wuxian wanted to sneak off when they descended the mountain for investigation, but the end result of his many attempts at escape en route all involved getting dragged back by the collar by Lan Wangji. He changed tactics and tried very hard to stick and cling to Lan Wangji, especially at night. He'd climb into Lan Wangji's bed, come hell or high water, hoping Lan Wangji would quickly strike him away with his sword in disgust. But no matter the fits he threw, Lan Wangji was still and unmoved. Every time Wei Wuxian burrowed into his blankets, he'd give Wei Wuxian a gentle tap, petrifying him. Then he would tuck Wei Wuxian into another set of blankets and arrange him into a proper sleeping position until morning. Every night they're doing this song and dance? Oh my god. Wei Wuxian fell for it multiple times, and every time he'd wake up groaning with a sore back and weak legs. He couldn't help but think, this guy's so much less interesting now that he's grown. When I teased him in the past, he knew how to be shy, and hilariously so too. Now, not only is he completely unaffected, but he's even learned to retaliate. Absolutely ridiculous. Cat's Cow says, Wei Wuxian doesn't know that he wants him in the bed, right? Following the direction indicated by the left arm, the two headed northwest. They had to play a duet of rest every day to temporarily pacify the arm's anger and killing intent. As they neared the area of Qinghe, the pointing gesture the arm had maintained for a long time suddenly changed. It withdrew its fingers and clenched them into a fist. This meant that what this hand was pointing at was nearby. They visited various places as they journeyed and finally came to a small city in Qinghe. It was the middle of the day, and the streets were full of people coming and going, lively and bustling. Wei Wuxian kicked and stomped as he followed behind Lan Wangji. Suddenly, a sharp scent of rouge and powder hit them in the face. Having gotten used to Lamonji's light, refreshing scent of sandalwood after this smell assaulted him, Wei Wuxian blurted out, "What do you sell?" "What's this smell?" "What do you sell? What's this smell?" The scent came from a scammy-looking quack doctor dressed in a Taoist robe. He had a chest carried on his back and was selling little trinkets to passerby. When he saw someone was making inquiries, he was delighted. "I sell everything. Rouge, powder, exquisite and cheap. Won't Gongzu take a look?" "Sure, I'll take a look," Wei Wuxian said. "For your wife at home?" the doc asked. Wei Wuxian smiled. "For myself." ... The doc's smile froze, and the thought crossed his mind. "You playin' me?" Dude sniffing Lamonji. Yes. Before he could blow up, another man came back halfway and said expressionlessly, "Do not play around if you're not going to buy." This man was exceptionally handsome and refined. His robes and forehead ribbon were whiter than snow, his eyes were pale in hue, and a long sword hung at his waist. The doctor was a fake cultivator. He had some half-baked knowledge of prominent cultivation clans, and recognizing the insignia of the land clan of Gusu, didn't dare to act rashly. He tugged on the straps of his chest and ran off. Wei Wuxian called after him, "What are you running for? I was really gonna buy some." "Do you have the money?" Lamonji asked. Wei Wuxian replied, "Well, gimme some then." As he said this, he reached into Lamonji's robes. He hadn't expected to dig out anything at first, but after feeling around for a bit, he really did manage to pull out an exquisite and heavy little money pouch. This didn't look like anything Lamonji would carry on his person at all, but after so many days, there were more than one or two things about him that perplexed Wei Wuxian. Unbothered by the odd sight, he grabbed the money pouch and walked away. Is the money pouch Wei Wuxian's or something like that? I don't remember. Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so gay. Oh, that's so sad. He's been carrying around his wallet this whole time. Oh, yeah. I remember. Oh, man. That's hilarious. Okay. Unbothered by the odd sight, he grabbed the money pouch and walked away. Sure enough, Lamonji let him take it without a single word of complaint. If Wei Wuxian hadn't thought he knew a little about Lamonji's character and insistence on purity, and with Han Guanzhong's terrifyingly impeccable reputation on top of that, he would almost have suspected there was some sort of romantic entanglement between Lamonji and Mo Xuanyu. Oh my god, he's like so close. He's like so fucking close. How else could Lamonji still endure it when he'd been this insufferable? After having walked a stretch, Wei Wuxian unconsciously looked back. Lamonji was left way behind, still standing in the same spot watching him. Wei Wuxian unconsciously slowed down. For some reason, he vaguely felt that maybe he shouldn't be walking this fast, and that maybe he shouldn't leave Lamonji behind like this. Oh! Just then, someone called out next to him, "The Yiling patriarch, 5 pennies a sheet, 10 for 3. Wei Wuxian blurted out, "Who?" He hurried over to see who it was that was selling him, and it was indeed the fake cultivator quack doctor from earlier. The man had packed up the poor quality cosmetics and changed to a stack of posters painted with devils looking as fierce and savage as threshold guardians, ferocious deities that guarded entryways. He rattled on, 5 pennies a sheet, 10 for 3. It's a good price, no cheat. 3 sheets are perfect. 1 for the main entrance, 1 for the main hall, and the last one at the head of the bed. Heavily ominous, thick with wickedness. Fight evil with evil. Fight poison with poison. No nefarious creatures will dare come close. Guaranteed. What is this bull? Wei Wuxian exclaimed. If it's really that effective, why are you selling a sheet for 5 pennies? You again? If you're not buying, then leave, the doc said. If you want to spend 50 pennies to buy one, I won't stop you. Wei Wuxian flipped through the stack of Portrait of the Yiling Patriarch, the Vanquisher of Evil. He really could not tolerate the idea that this green-faced, teeth-baring, burly man with bulging eyes and popped veins was himself. He argued with the power of logic. Wei Wuxian was renowned as a beautiful man. What the heck is this drawing? Don't just draw whatever if you've never seen the man himself before. It's misleading. He's a beautiful man. That doc was just about to speak when Wei Wuxian suddenly felt a threatening wind behind him. He swiftly dodged, but the quack doctor was sent flying and crashed into someone else's pinwheel stall. Some people helped him to his feet, while others helped pick up the mess. It was a flurry of chaos. The doc had wanted to swear at first, but when he saw the one who had kicked him was a little young master decked in shimmering gold all over, obviously either wealthy or noble, his courage was cut in half. Then, when he saw it was the white peony sparks amidst snow embroidered on the young master's chest, he lost his confidence completely. But he still refused to be kicked for no good reason, so he complained meekly, "Why did you kick me? My pinwheels!" The little young master was indeed Jin Ling. He said coldly with his arms crossed, "Kick you? Anyone who dares mention the name Wei Wuxian in front of me should kneel and thank their lucky stars that I don't kill them. You were hollering and making a heck of a racket on the streets too. You were asking for it." Wei Wuxian had never expected Jin Ling to appear in this place, and never imagined he'd act so bossy too. He thought to himself, what is going on with this child's temper? So hot-headed and belligerent, arrogant, spoiled, and looking down on everyone. He's thoroughly inherited everything bad about his uncle and father, and nothing good from his mother. If I don't knock him down a couple notches, he'll be at a huge disadvantage in the future. Seeing how Jin Ling didn't appear to have spent all of his anger and was walking threateningly towards the man on the ground, Wei Wuxian interrupted him. "Jin Ling!" That doctor didn't dare to make a sound, but his eyes were beaming with 1,000 thanks. Sure enough, Jin Ling turned to Wei Wuxian. He said disdainfully, "You haven't run away yet? Just as well." Wei Wuxian laughed. "Gee, I wonder who it was last time that got pinned to the ground, unable to get up." Jin Ling scoffed and blew a short whistle. Wei Wuxian didn't understand what that meant at first, but a brief moment later, a sound of a heavy panting beast could be heard in the distance. When he turned his head to look, a black-haired spirit dog, half the size of a man, emerged from around the street corner, running straight for him. The alarmed screams down the long street came closer and closer, louder and louder. "A vicious dog on the loose!" Wei Wuxian's face abruptly changed color, and he bolted. An embarrassing tale to tell, but for all his presumptuous claims of being invincible, the Yiling patriarch was actually scared of dogs. It couldn't be helped. When he was younger, before he was found by Zheng Fengmian, he had lived on the streets and often had no choice but to steal food from the mouths of vicious hounds. He had suffered greatly and plentifully from all the biting, tearing, and chasing, and gradually become terrified of all canines, big or small. Zheng had often laughed at him for this. Not only was this embarrassing to tell, but not many believed it either, so it wasn't a widely known fact. Oh, the trauma. Wei Wuxian was practically scared witless. A tall, graceful white figure entered his vision all of a sudden, and he quickly let out a distressed cry. "Lan Zhan, save me!" When Jin Ling saw Lan Wangji after giving chase, his face drained of color. Why is that lunatic with him again? Lan Wangji was a stern, taciturn man. Those of his generation within the cultivation world would often feel trepidation at the sight of him, never mind the juniors. His power of intimidation was equal to more than that of Lan Qiren back in his era. That dog of Jin Ling's was no ordinary dog. It had been strictly trained and was exceptionally intelligent. It also seemed to know that it could not behave atrociously in front of this man, so it howled a few times before hiding behind Jin Ling with its tail between its legs. Even dogs are afraid of Lan Wangji. That's hilarious. This black-haired spirit dog was a rare breed that Jing Guanyao had gifted Jin Ling. Ordinarily, when people heard it was a gift from Lian Fengzhen, no one would dare affront it. Unfortunately, Lan Wangji was no ordinary person, and he couldn't care less about Jing Guanyao. No. His brother's weird husband. Unfortunately, Lan Wangji was no ordinary person. He didn't care whose gift it was. Jing Guanyao was always at his house anyways. The one who let the dog loose would be punished as was fit, severely and without leniency. Jin Ling had been caught letting the dog loose in the streets and caught giving chase, and his heart sank. He thought inwardly, "I'm dead. He'll have the spirit dog I worked so hard to train killed, then teach me a harsh lesson." Yet who would have believed the sight of Wei Wuxian shoving himself under Lan Wangji's arm, drilling around to his back, and desperately trying to climb up this tall and graceful pole? It would be best if he could reach the sky. With Wei Wuxian's arms encircling him, Lan Wangji seemed to have frozen solid. Using this chance, Jin Ling blew another 2 short whistles and fled with his black-haired spirit dog. Lan Wangji is a pole, right? Climb that man like a tree. Storm! Oh my god! Literally, I just saw your message. On the ground next to them, that doctor struggled to his feet. He said, still feeling lingering fear, "Public morality is declining by the day. The descendants of prominent clans are awful, just awful." Wei Wuxian listened to the barking of the dog disappear into the distance, then also emerged from behind Lan Wangji's back, agreeing with his hands folded behind him like nothing had happened. Hi, Cucumber! Thank you for your donation. What's up, Cucumber Salad? Thank you so much for joining. Hey, the volcano that you saw from your window, I saw on the news. They were talking about it on the news. Isn't that so cool? Indeed, public morality is declining by the day. Nothing is what it used to be. The doc now saw him as his savior and quickly agreed. To demonstrate his gratitude, he tossed the sack of Portrait of the Yiling Patriarch, the Vanquisher of Evil posters into Wei Wuxian's hand like a hot potato. Brother, thanks so much for earlier. Take this as my thanks. If you sell them at a discount, 3 pennies a sheet, you can make a profit of at least 300. Lan Wangji glanced at the burly man with the green face and bared teeth and gave no comment. Wei Wuxian didn't know whether to laugh or cry at how his value was getting marked down cheaper and cheaper. Is this your thank you gift? If you really want to thank me, draw him better looking. Stop. Don't go. I've got something to ask. Visual J, thank you for gifting a membership. While doing business here, have you heard of any strange occurrences or seen anything odd? Strange occurrences? You've asked the right person, the doc said. This humble one has resided here for a long time, and people call me the know-it-all of Qinghe. What strange occurrences are you talking about? Wei Wuxian replied, for example, hauntings, strange cases of dismembered corpses, clan annihilation tragedies, and so on. Not here, the doc said, but if you go onward for 2 to 3 kilometers, there's a mountain ridge there called the Shingloo Ridge. I suggest you not go. Why not? Wei Wuxian asked. The Shingloo Ridge is also nicknamed the Man-Eating Ridge. What do you think? Doc answered. Oh yeah? It's haunted by man-eating monsters, is it? Wei Wuxian asked. He had heard similar rumors at least 1,000 times and had personally exterminated said things at least 100 times, so it couldn't be helped that he found the idea mundane. The doctor said dramatically, That's right. They say that in the forest lies a man-eating fortress, and there are man-eating monsters living in there. Any intruder will be devoured so completely that not even crumbs will be left of their bones. Not a single man shall be spared, without exception. Scary, right? No wonder Jin Ling had showed up here. He'd failed to nab the soul-eating heavenly maiden of Mount Dafan, so he had to be targeting the monster of Shingloo Ridge this time. Wei Wuxian replied, So scary. But if not even bone crumbs are left and no one's been spared, how do you know intruders are eaten? The doctor was briefly speechless, then said, Of course it's because someone's witnessed it. But didn't you just say that intruders are devoured so completely that not even bone crumbs remain, without exception? Who's the one talking, then? I wonder who's so amazing that they could witness such a scene and still come out alive to tell the tale, Wei Wuxian commented in admiration. That's what the rumors say. How should I know? The doctor said. Wei Wuxian continued to prod. Then do you know the total count of people who have been devoured at Shingloo Ridge? When were they devoured? Their ages? Male or female? Their names? Where did they come from? I don't know, the doctor said. The know-it-all of Qinghe. Wei Wuxian snidely jabbed. The doctor angrily slung on his basket pack. Rumors never cover that kind of stuff in the first place. Wei Wuxian laughed cheekily. No, don't go, come on. Let me ask one more question. Shingloo Ridge is still within the borders of Qinghe, right? Isn't Qinghe the domain of the Ni family? If there really are man-eating monsters roaming about Shingloo Ridge, are they really not doing anything about it? Unexpectedly, the doctor didn't answer with, I don't know, this time. Instead, contempt flashed on his face. the Ni family? If it were the Ni family of the past, of course they wouldn't remain uninvolved. The rumor would hardly be 2 days old before they'd resolutely raid the evil thing's lair into no time at all. But isn't the current Ni family head that head shaker? The head of the Ni clan of Qinghe had been Qi Fengzun, courtesy name Ni Mingjue. He took control of the Ni family before he came of age upon the death of his father, the former family head, who had been vexed to death by the head of the Wen clan of Qishan, Wen Rohan. Ni Mingjue's approach was principled and unyielding, and he was sworn brothers with Zewu Jun, that is, Lan Qichen, and Lian Fenzun, that is, Jing Guanyao. After the Sunshot campaign, under his rule, there was a time when the Ni family almost matched the Jin clan of Lan Ling in power and influence. However, he had suffered a chi deviation during training and died publicly and violently, with blood bursting from his body. The one who succeeded him to the position of family head would have been his little brother, Ni Huaisang. Wei Wuxian asked, "So why is he called the head shaker?" "You don't know the story?" the doctor asked. "That Ni family head, if he doesn't know the answer, he won't bother to say anything. And if he does know the answer, he won't dare to say anything. If you press him too hard, force him too hard, he'll just keep shaking his head, crying, 'I don't know, I really don't know,' and beg you to let him off the hook. Doesn't that make him a head shaker?" Wei Wuxian and Ni Huaisang had been classmates, so he could say a thing or two about the man. Ni Huaisang wasn't a bad person, and it wasn't that he wasn't smart. He just had zero inclination to apply himself academically. All of his smarts were spent elsewhere, in painting fans, catching feathered friends, skipping class, and loafing around. His capacity for cultivation was indeed amazingly poor, and it was only with great difficulty that he'd managed to form a golden core, 8 or 9 years after juniors of other clans of the same generation. While alive, Ni Mingjue had often been anxious about his little brother's lack of progress and been extremely strict in disciplining him. Nonetheless, Ni Huaisang remained hopeless. Now that his older brother was no longer around to shield him from storms and provide guidance, the Ni clan of Qinghe was declining under Ni Huaisang's leadership, and rapidly. Once he came of age, and especially since he had become the family head, Ni Huaisang was often seen running around in a terrible tizzy over the various matters he had no idea how to handle, begging others for help whenever he could find anyone willing. His older brother's 2 younger sworn brothers were his favorite resources on the matter. Today he'd be complaining tearfully to Jing Guanyao. Tomorrow he'd go sniffling and stammering for assistance at the cloud recesses. It was by relying on the support of 2 great clan leaders of the Lans and Jins that he was able to, with immense difficulty, keep the position of family head. While it wouldn't be courteous to say so out loud, whenever Ni Huaisang was mentioned, the same phrase was written clearly on everyone's faces. Good for nothing trash. Woof! Thinking back on everything that happened in the past, one couldn't help but sigh. After getting the information on Shingloo Ridge, Wei Wuxian still patronized the doctor's business. He brought 2 boxes of rouge and powder, hugging his purchases to him as he returned to Lan Wangji's side, the latter still showing no intention of asking for the return of his money pouch. Without a word, they headed in the direction that the doctor pointed. A vast fir forest enveloped Shingloo Ridge. Wide open paths wound through the lush green foliage. They traveled for a while and didn't run into anything unusual, but the two had no great expectations as such in the first place. Walking through this place was only a precaution. If a terrifying local rumor actually had any truth to it, then the circulating talk would have at least a few substantial facts. When the soul-eating heavenly maiden of Mount Dafan was haunting its area, there were clear hard facts that had been easily sniffed out. Where the victims' families lived, the victims' names, not even the nickname of Ayan's fiancé could have been concealed. But if there were no details at all about the victims and no information about the incidents aside from vague hemming and hawing, then it was most likely nothing but sensational and spurious hearsay. Over an hour later, after the aforementioned untold hardships, they finally ran into some trouble. Ahead of them were 7 or 8 figures wobbling as they approached. Their eyes rolled back, their clothing was ragged, and they looked as if they'd collapse if struck by the weakest breeze. Judging by their unimaginable slowness, this was a row of walking corpses that could not be any lower in level. Walking corpses like these were only good for getting bullied by their own kind. If they ran into a living human possessing even the slightest bit of strength, a single kick could topple an entire row of them. If they ran into a child who could run even slightly fast, they'd be left in the dust in an instant. Even if one was unlucky in the extreme and somehow got caught, letting them suck a couple breaths of yang energy wouldn't be fatal. So aside from their extremely ugly looks and horrid stench, they were no threat at all. You lame zombies. When advanced cultivators ran into them during night hunts, they were ignored in most cases and left for junior disciples to deal with. When one went out hunting tigers and leopards, there was no point in pursuing mice, or such was the logic. When Wei Wuxian saw them walking over, he knew this was going to be bad news. He bowed his head, retreating behind Lan Wangji. Sure enough, when this queue of wobbly walking corpses came within 20 meters of them, the moment they saw Wei Wuxian, they immediately turned around and wobbled on back from whence they came in terror, their legs moving threefold faster and more efficiently than when they had first surrounded them. Wei Wuxian rubbed his temples. He then whirled around and said, his voice trembling with terrible fear, "Heavens, Hengguanzhen, you're so amazing! The moment they saw you, they ran away in fear! Ha ha!" Lan Wangji was speechless in response. Wei Wuxian nudged him, laughing. Come on, let's get out of here. I'm not seeing any other monsters. Amazing how the local talk can talk this place up. Some cowardly walking corpses, and they become monsters that swallow even bones. The man-eating fortress must be fabricated too. We've wasted our time." Lan Wangji only moved after he was pushed a couple of times. Before Wei Wuxian could follow, from the far distance of the fir forest, there came the crazed howling of a dog. The color of Wei Wuxian's face violently changed. He ducked behind Lan Wangji in a matter of seconds, hugging his waist and crouching down, shrinking into a ball. "It is distant still. Why are you hiding?" Lan Wangji said. Hide first! Where is it? Where is it?" Wei Wuxian stuttered. Lan Wangji listened intently for a moment, then replied, "It is that black-haired spirit dog belonging to Jin Ling." The moment Wei Wuxian heard Jin Ling mentioned, he stood up, but then immediately crouched back down at the sound of the howling. Lan Wangji said, "Such crazed howls from a spirit hound, it must have encountered something." Wei Wuxian groaned miserably, then arduously stood up on two shaking legs. Then let's go check it out." Lan Wangji didn't budge. Wei Wuxian urged, "Hengguanzhen, move, go on. What'll I do if you don't?" After a moment of silence, Lan Wangji finally said, "You let go first." The two dragged and pulled, stumbled and floundered as they followed the sound of the howling. They circled twice within the forest of fir, and yet the howling black-haired spirit dog seemed to have eluded them. Now it was nearby, then it was far away. Having listened to the howls for so long, Wei Wuxian finally got somewhat used to them, or, at the very least, he was no longer stuttering. "There's a maze array here?" This maze array was clearly a man-made effort. He just declared the Shingloo Ridge rumors to be nothing but baseless hearsay, but now things were getting interesting. The black-haired spirit dog had been howling for half an incense time, but it was still invigorated. After the duo broke through the maze array, they followed its sound. Not long after, the contours of ghastly stone bunkers began to surface from the depths of the fir forest. The fortress was comprised of stone bunkers built with grayish-white stones, and green vines and fallen leaves crawled over every surface. Every bunker was constructed in a peculiar half-dome shape. It was as if there were a number of large bowls overturned on the ground. Stone bunkers like these actually existed on Shingloo Ridge. It appeared the rumors were not simply empty gossip. However, it was difficult to say whether this really was a man-eating fortress or just what creatures lurked inside. Jin Ling's black-haired spirit dog was running around in circles outside this group of stone bunkers, sometimes growling threateningly, sometimes barking loudly and viciously. When it saw Lan Wangji approach, although it backed away a bit in fear, it didn't flee. Instead, it barked at them even louder, then looked to the stone fortress. Anxious and agitated, its front paws dug at the earth so hard that mud was splattering. Wei Wuxian was in agony, hiding behind Lan Wangji. Why isn't it leaving? Where's its master? Why is its master gone? Since they first heard the dog's howls, they had not heard a single sound from Jin Ling, not even a cry for help. He must have been the one to bring the black-haired spirit dog here, and he must also have been the one to break the maze array, and yet it was as if a living person had vanished, just like that. "Let us go in and check," Lan Wangji said. "How? There's no door," Wei Wuxian said. There really was no door. The gray-whitish stone blocks were tightly sealed together, without any room for doors or windows. The black-haired spirit dog howled and jumped, seeming to want to bite the corner of Lan Wangji's sleeve, but not daring so. It went around him to bite Wei Wuxian's hem instead, dragging him out. Wei Wuxian's soul was about to leave his body. He reached out to Lan Wangji with both hands. "Lanjan! Lanjan! 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 Lanjan!" The black-haired dog dragged Wei Wuxian. Wei Wuxian dragged Lan Wangji, and thus did the dog drag the two men a good halfway around to the back of the stone fortress. Surprisingly, there was a hole there about the size of a grown man. On the ground was scattered debris. The hole had obviously been violently blown out by a spiritual device just recently. It was pitch black inside the hole, and nothing was quite visible, but there seemed to be a subtle, faint red light. The black-haired spirit dog slackened its jaw and started barking incessantly towards the hole, then waggled its tail crazily at the other two. Needless to say, it must have been Jin Ling who had forcefully broken into the stone bunker, and he had likely met with an accident once he went in. Faire is a good dog. Bishan unsheathed itself by Bishan showed seashells by the seashore. Bishan unsheathed itself by half, its blade emitting an icy blue shimmer. Oh my god. Lamonji with the iPhone flashlight illuminating the pitch black road ahead. Lamonji bent down and entered first. Wei Wuxian, about to completely lose it because of the dog, quickly dashed after him, almost crashing into him. Lamonji took his hand to steady him, and whether in reproach or exasperation, he shook his head. It was obvious that the black-haired spirit dog wanted to join them. It tried to charge inside, but it seemed to be blocked by some kind of force and couldn't break through the barrier no matter how hard it pushed, and so it had no choice but to sit down in front of the hole, its tail wagging ever harder. Wei Wuxian was so overjoyed he practically was ready to kneel. He pulled his hand back, taking a few steps deeper inside. The icy blue light of the sword brightened the surrounding blackness into a cold white. The trees of Shingloo Ridge were tall, the woods deep, quite the chilly place, and yet the interior of this stone fortress was even more so. Wei Wuxian had entered the forest with lightly layered clothing, and the chilly wind swished through the openings at his cuffs and collar, drying the cold sweat from the dog-related fright earlier. The light at the opening had long disappeared like a candlelight extinguished. The deeper they went, the more spacious it became, and the darker it grew. The ceiling of the stone bunker was round, and when Wei Wuxian kicked a pebble by his foot, he could hear a light echo. He faintly could endure no longer and stopped, pressing his right hand against his temple, his brows slightly furrowed. Lamonji looked back. "What is it?" "It's so noisy," Wei Wuxian said. Within the stone bunker it was deathly still and soundless, as silent as a grave. Just so, it greatly resembled a grave in the first place. But at this very moment, Wei Wuxian's ears told him that they were at the epicenter of a cacophony of noise. The noise came from all directions, front, back, left, right, above the head, below the feet. It was like a vast ocean of whispers, rustling and faint. He, ha, ha. There were men and women, old and young, big and small. Wei Wuxian could even hear some odd phrases here and there, but they were fleeting, and he couldn't catch any of the exact words. It really was too noisy. Wei Wuxian kept one hand on his temple while the other went to dig out a palm-sized compass of ill winds from the chicken pouch. His pouch. The needle of the compass of ill winds quivered and faltered, spinning around twice, then spinning faster and faster. Soon it started spinning crazily. Previously at Mount Dafan, it had already been bizarre that the compass of ill winds couldn't point out a direction, but this time it actually started spinning on its own, without stopping for a single moment. This was even more perplexing than when the needle wasn't moving at all. The foreboding feeling in Wei Wuxian's mind was growing stronger and stronger. He shouted out loud, "Jin Ling!" The two had already walked for a while within the stone bunker, but they still hadn't seen any trace of the living. Wei Wuxian called out a few times, and there was no response. The first few chambers were completely empty, but when they reached a deeper area, they came upon a stone chamber with a pitch-black coffin set in the center of the room. Cucumber salad! What? Oh my god! Oh my god! Cucumber salad! Dude! Thank you so much. What the heck? I can't believe there's still more memberships to give. Oh my god. Thank you so much, Cucumber Salad. I cannot believe you. Oh my god. Thank you so much. Oh my god. I was like, literally, as they come across the coffin, I'm like, Cucumber Salad is sending me into my coffin. Giving me a heart attack. thank you so, so much. Oh my god, you are so generous. You are so kind. I appreciate that so much, dude. Oh my god, thank you so, so much. Cucumbers in the chat. Thank you so much. Just please no. Oh my god. I appreciate you so much, cucumber salad. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I can't believe you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, brother. Okay. The coffin's placement was incredibly conspicuous. Despite how suspicious it looked, the entirety of its body was laden black, the shape of it exceptionally beautiful. Wei Wuxian found it particularly endearing. He liked it and couldn't resist giving it a pat. The quality of the wood was superior, and the resonance of the pat was a solid talk. He praised. A good coffin. Literally like some dude like patting like the hood of a car. Oh my god. Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian stood on either side and exchanged a look, then both reached out at the same time and opened the coffin lid. The moment the coffin lid was opened, the clamoring noise around them suddenly increased exponentially, drowning Wei Wuxian's hearing like an incoming tide. There's already been so many, like, little instances that just show how well Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian, like, innately work good together, you know? Like, they share little glances when they're playing music together, when they're, depending on what way they're gonna go, like, helping each other out unconsciously, and, like, even just like this, like, knowing what they're gonna do next. I just really love seeing the subtle ways that they're just such good partners together, you know? Cat's Cow says, dead guy knows a good coffin when he sees one. Before this, it had already felt as though they were being spied on by countless eyes, the owners of those eyes secretly monitoring them, discussing their every word and action, and in seeing them move to open the coffin, their agitation flared. Wei Wuxian thought of a dozen possibilities. He was already prepared to deal with rancid smells assaulting his nose, demonic claws suddenly lunging forth, venomous water spraying, poisonous gas diffusing, assault by resentful spirits, and so on, though of course he hoped for the possibility he'd see Jin Ling the most of all of these. However, nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. It was, surprisingly, an empty coffin. Ooh, this is a creepy art. This is kind of scary. Even just how Wei Wuxian's standing, he's giving such, like, little fucking gremlin energy. He's like, heh, this is a good coffin then, Jan. Carrie Fisk says, they fought alongside each other before and it shows. Yeah, I love it. Wei Wuxian was somewhat surprised, then a little disappointed that Jin Ling wasn't trapped in there. Lan Wangji edged closer, and Bishan unsheathed itself several centimeters. That sentence. That's quite the sentence. Its icy light shimmered and illuminated the bottom of the coffin. Only then did he notice something. It wasn't that there was nothing inside, but rather the object was much smaller than the corpse he had expected, and it was hidden in the deepest depth of the coffin. Within the coffin, there lay a long saber. This saber had no sheath, and the hilt was forged in gold. It looked to have quite a heft to it. Hannah, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Hannah says 3 months until birth. I love this community. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I can feel you. You're still in there, still cooking. Thank you so much, Hannah. I'm glad you're enjoying the community. I love it so much as well. Okay, they found a saber in the coffin. The saber had no sheath, and the hilt was forged in gold. It looked to have quite a heft to it. The body of the saber was long and slender, the blade bright as snow. Pillowed on a layer of red cloth at the bottom of the coffin, the blade reflected that blood-like color. Its killing aura was ominous. The coffin gave rest not to a corpse, but a saber. There was truly not a single normal thing about this row of stone bunkers at Shingloo Ridge. Every step they took led them to more strangeness. The two closed the coffin lid and continued their travels deeper inside. There were several more stone chambers where they discovered the same kind of coffin. Judging by the condition of the wood, they spanned years of age, but the constant among them all was that within each coffin was a long saber laid to rest. They had reached the very last room, and there was still no sign of Jin Ling. Wei Wuxian closed the last coffin lid, feeling slightly uneasy. Lan Wangji observed his frown and his silence. After a moment of deliberation, he placed his guqin atop the coffin. He raised his hands, and a string of notes flowed from his fingers. He only played a short segment before he withdrew his right hand from the guqin, then stared intently at the strings that were still vibrating. Suddenly, the strings convulsed and played a note on their own. "Inquiry?" Wei Wuxian asked. Inquiry was a famous song composed by the forebears of the Lan clan of Gusu. It was different from evocation, than that it was used in circumstances when the identity of the deceased was unknown and there was no medium. One who wished to pose an inquiry made it known through the guqin's melody, and with inquiry serving as the conduit, the answer of the deceased would be transformed into notes and plucked upon the strings. When the strings moved on their own, it meant Lan Wangji had successfully gained an audience with one of the deceased within the stone bunker. Next, both parties would engage in a duet of question and answer through the language of the guqin. Guqin language was a unique and secret cipher of the Lan clan of Gusu. Although Wei Wuxian had dabbled in many subjects, there were nevertheless things he could not wrap his head around, and Guqin language was one of them. He said softly, "Han Guanzhen, ask them for me. What is this place? What's it for? Who built it?" Lan Wangji was proficient in Guqin language, and without needing to think, he strummed a few clear notes. I'm picturing it's like Morse code. A moment later, the strings played on their own a few times more. Wei Wuxian quickly asked, "What did it say?" "Do not know," Lan Wangji replied. "Huh?" Lan Wangji explained unhurriedly. "It said, 'Do not know.'" ... Okay, I know this joke. I know in, like, The Untamed, like, the way Lan Wangji speaks is so, like, formal, right? It, like, he would say Buji Dao, which is, like, I don't know. But Wei Wuxian says, like, what did it say? And he just says, like, Buji, I think, which would be, like, such an informal way of saying it. And I think that's what made Wei Wuxian be, like, shocked there, right? Like, oh my god, Lan Wangji spoke so informally, but it's because it's, like, the ghost speaking through him. Right? Wei Wuxian stared at him and suddenly recalled a certain conversation regarding whatever many years ago. He rubbed his nose, feeling miffed. Look at how much Lan Zhan's grown. He's even learned how to talk back to me now. The first question was unsuccessful, so Lan Wangji played another verse. The strings responded again, and it was still the same two clanging notes from before. This time, Wei Wuxian understood the answer as, "Do not know" again. He pressed him. "What did you ask?" "Cause of death," Lan Wangji replied. Wei Wuxian said, "If they were blindsided by it, then it certainly is possible for them to not know their own cause of death. Why don't you ask if they know who killed them?" Lan Wangji raised his hands and strummed the strings once more. However, the response was still the two clanging notes, "Do not know." An imprisoned soul who did not know what this place was, did not know their own cause of death, and did not know who killed them. This was the first time Wei Wuxian had met such a clueless deceased. His mind turned, and he said, "Then switch the questions to something else. Ask them if they're a man or a woman. They have to know that, at least." Lan Wangji played accordingly. After he withdrew his hands, a different string flicked with force. Lan Wangji translated, "Man." "Finally, something they know," Wei Wuxian commented. "Continue. Ask if there's a boy about 15 years old who came here." The answer, "Yes." Wei Wuxian then asked, "Where is he now?" The strings paused for a moment before giving the answer. Wei Wuxian quickly asked, "What did he say?" Lan Wangji turned solemn. He said, "Right here." "Ah! He said the call's coming from inside the house!" Wei Wuxian was stunned into silence. Here should have meant the stone bunker, but they had searched the whole place and hadn't seen Jin Ling. Wei Wuxian said, "He can't lie, can he?" "He cannot, when I am here," Lan Wangji replied. This was true. The Inquirer was Hengwen-jun, and under his control the spirit could not lie and had no choice but to answer honestly. Wei Wuxian searched, turning the stone chamber inside out to see if there were any mechanisms or secret passageways he'd missed. Lamaji contemplated briefly, then inquired 2 verses more. After he received the answer, his face changed a little. Seeing this, Wei Wuxian quickly asked, "What did you ask now?" "His age, his origin," Lamaji replied. Both questions were probing for the spirit's identity, and Wei Wuxian knew he must have gotten an unusual answer. "And?" 15, from Lan Ling, Lamaji said. Wei Wuxian's face drastically changed too. The soul inquiry had invited was Jin Ling's? He quickly stopped to listen intently. He couldn't be sure, but the overwhelming clamor, it seemed he really could faintly hear Jin Ling's weak cries. Lamaji continued the discussion. Wei Wuxian knew he must be inquiring about the specific spot, and he stared at the strings, waiting for Jin Ling's answer. This time the response was fairly long. Once Lamaji finished listening, he turned to Wei Wuxian. "From where you are, face southwestward and listen to the sound of the strings. Move 1 step forward with every note. Once the sound ceases, he will be before you." Without a word, Wei Wuxian turned to the southwest. Behind him came several strums, so he took 7 steps. However, there still was nothing in front of him. The strings still plucked, but the intervals between the notes were growing longer and longer, and he was thus also walking slower and slower. Another step, 2 steps, 3 steps. He walked 6 steps before the sound of the guqin finally fell silent, and the strings no longer strummed. And yet, what was before him was only a wall. This wall was built from grayish-white stone bricks, and every block was seamlessly stacked. Wei Wuxian turned around. "He's inside the wall?" Bishan was unsheathed, and 4 streams of blue light swept past, carving overlapping lines that resembled the character for well. Neatly onto the wall, the 2 rushed up and started tearing apart the bricks, and after removing several of them, a large swath of black earth was revealed. "Cucumber salad, thank you so much for your donation!" This novel is surprisingly growing on me. Like, they really are perfect together. Nothing like using a Ouija board with your babe. Yes, absolutely! His Lamaji using the Ouija board, translating for Wei Wuxian. I love this ghost hunting stuff so much, and they're just, they work so well together. It's beautiful. You're telling me that there's ghost hunting and romance? Like, I'm sold. Thank you so much, Cucumber Salad, for donating. So there were 2 layers to the walls of the stone bunker, and between the 2 layers of stone bricks there was a vein of earth. Ew, a vein? That's such a gross way to describe that. Wei Wuxian dug out a large dirt clod with his bare hands, and in the blackish mud there was a human face with its eyes tightly shut. It was the missing Jin Ling! Jin Ling's face was sunken inside the earth, and the moment it was revealed, air rushed into his mouth and nose. Instantly, he started gasping with vigor. Seeing he was alive, Wei Wuxian was finally able to relax. Jin Ling's life had been hanging by a thread. If not, inquiry wouldn't have caught his soul as it was about to leave his body. Thankfully, he hadn't been buried inside the wall for too long. If they had delayed for another quarter of an hour, he would have suffocated to death. Thank God for Faire, the true protagonist of this novel. The 2 unhurriedly dug him out of the wall. Or the 2 hurriedly dug him out of the wall. Who would have thought they'd pulled out mud along with the carrot? The moment Jin Ling emerged from the earth, the longsword on his back hooked out something else too. An arm decayed to nothing but eerie white bones. Lamaji laid Jin Ling down on the ground and felt for his pulse to administer aid. Wei Wuxian, on the other hand, picked up Bishan's sheath and skillfully prodded and dug along the bone arm. Not long after, a complete skeleton appeared before him. This skeleton was in the same position that they'd found Jin Ling, buried inside the wall, still standing. The ghastly white bones were a stark contrast to the pitch-black mud, piercing to the eyes. Wei Wuxian dug through the earth and tore off another few bricks, and sure enough, after rooting about, he discovered another set of bones nearby. This set hadn't rotted completely just yet. There was still flesh attached to the bones, and even some disheveled ebony hair on the skull. The ragged clothes were cherry red. Evidently, this was a woman. She wasn't standing, though. Her posture was bent at the waist, and the reason she was bending likely involved the 3rd set of corpse bones curled up near her legs. Wei Wuxian didn't dig any further. He backed up a few steps. The clamoring noise in his ears was tempestuous and insolent like the tides. He could practically be certain now. The thick walls of this stone fortress were stuffed full of corpses. Above the head, below the feet, southeast, northwest, standing, sitting, lying, crouching. What exactly was this place? And that's the end of the chapter. Oh my God. What kind of place is it where the walls are lined with skeletons and the swords have coffins inside. How spooky. The walls are made of titans, yes! Oh my gosh. Yeah, that part was so freaky. That was a good chapter. He's in the walls. It's always scary when someone's in the walls. Orion says, I love when Murazushi is spooky. Me too. Stephanie says, I love them solving mysteries. I could read more like this after the main story came to an end. Right? Like, just them going off and doing little ghost hunting and shit together. Cucumber Salad said, this really has its horror elements. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it gets, there's some other scary parts too. It's good. Leo says, at the music festival I was at, someone said getting jiggy with it, and it made me think of Jiggy. I broke down laughing and then had to explain why I was laughing. Yes. Getting Jingguanyao with it. Lan Shi-chan gets jiggy with it every night. Crystal Long says, getting so good! Yes, it is! And let's see, is the next chapter, like, does it continue on? Yeah, so there's no, the next chapter doesn't jump into a flashback or anything, it's like continuing on. Esper Lady says, oh my god, Fairy really was Lassie in this. Love Fairy. Me too. Naj says, that's why I prefer the present day bits of the series of the flashback. Yeah, the story spans over so much time, so I think a lot of the really, like, when people think about certain scenes in Murazushi, they're like the ones set in the past, but the current story is actually really good too. Kohaku says, Ouija boards were technically first made in China, and Faygo is a Michigan-made soda. Oh, okay. Yeah, the flashbacks are so traumatizing, yeah. Wei Wuxian's wig says, another scary part is what Wei Wuxian did to that sword. Mm-hmm. K-Moment says, so Fairy was actually saying he was trapped in the well. Yes, literally. Hi, Spacey! Cat's Cow says, Murazushi is so good. I agree. K-Moment says, I was making dinner while listening, and now that I sat down to eat, the chapter ends. I'm so sorry. Oh, Spacey got to watch the Kenzie and Briarbox wedding. That's so cute. I don't think I actually have read any of the extras other than the incense burner, the sword extra. But yeah. No, I'm enjoying it a lot. Okay, so for schedules for next streams, I won't be able to stream tomorrow because we're having some friends over. And Tuesday night, we will have to do our members-only stream. If that works for everybody. And then I will be gone for a week. And might be able to do a stream on the 30th at night, which is a Wednesday. Cat's Cow says, I might need your Arha expertise regarding the Kenzie bot gift. Sure, send me a DM and we can chat about it. And Cup Noodle Cat has been a member for 6 months. Thank you so much. And says, I love this chapter. Lanchiram being awakened by rage. Right? Isn't that moment so good? That's so funny. Ugh. I love it. In a blink gone. I think I'm actually going to cosplay Ivan at Annie Revo. Enora Phoenix, thank you for your donation. I'm glad I was able to catch this reading. My acid reflux was bad today, plus I had a headache, so this was a nice distraction. Oh, I'm glad. I'm so glad. I've had a headache all day, so I know your pain, and I get acid reflux sometimes too, so I know that fucking sucks. I hope it goes away. Ugh. Wavershin's Wig says, I love Till, please. Yes, and Stitch does such a good Till. Oh my god. Oh, and look who came. Oh my goodness, right before we have to say goodbye, Lexi came to say hello. Oh, come on, you want to say hello? Oh, she's too shy. She is too shy today. She knows I'm gonna lift her up onto the chair. Cucumbers, thank you so much for your donation. I'm gonna head off to write some more. Hopefully I catch the next reading stream. Yes, I hope so too. Enjoy writing. Writing is the best. I hope you have a good night. Love you guys. Jun Yating says, I've got 4 danmei characters and might throw in a few extra things, danmei and non-danmei. That's awesome. Chirong says, tell her I say hi. I will. Spacey says, hi, Lexi. Kay says, when that door opened, I nearly had a heart attack until I saw the dog. Oh my god. It's actually one of the corpses from inside the man-eating cave. Rosalinda, I haven't seen the Alien Stage comics, actually. I don't know what's up with that. And in a blink, gone. Quinn, thank you for your donation. I was at the beach with some furry friends today. So much fun. Oh, that's wonderful. I want to go to the beach. Gotta get Stitch to take me to the beach. Pupper is too cute to be haunted. If there was something haunted going on, we would know, because the dogs would fucking not stop barking. They bark at everything. The recent 2 are Ivantil focused. What? Okay, I definitely gotta check them out. Oh my god. Damn. I love how freaky Ivan is for Till. Some good ass toxic yaoi. Dr. Sprout says, before you end the stream, if you were in a fantasy world, what would you like to be? A knight? A wizard? A wizard! Oh my god. If there is a choice between casting spells and brute force, I will pick casting spells. Aster says, I went peach picking today. It was so fun, but it's so hot in California. Ooh, get some fresh peaches? That's amazing. I love peaches. Peaches, 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 peaches. Oh, Chirong. At the Ren Fair I was at, they had a big pot you could go in and make it look like you were putting the stew, and it made me think of Chirong. Sugar Kiss is about to see Kesha. Oh my god. That's awesome. I was just listening to Joyride. Stephanie says, sure your dogs aren't used to ghosts? You have a lot of Hua Chungs there. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I mean, if they're friendly ghosts, that's fine. Elle, I'm sorry to hear you're unwell. I hope that you feel better soon, but glad you could hang out with us. I love hanging out with everybody. I love just chatting with everybody, too. I like the before the reading starts part just as much as I like the reading part, too. It's so much fun to get to know what everybody's up to and stuff. Kohaku says, what did you think of the pickle advertising at the Renaissance Fair? They did have you could get a pickle. You could get a whole pickle. I don't think I noticed anything strange with the advertising, but I saw some people with pickles for sure. Sugar Kiss! Oh my god! Thank you so much, Sugar Kiss, for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Sugar Kiss says, celebrating Char and Kenzie's union today. Yes! I can't believe that. It's just so, so beautiful. It's so amazing that they could be together. Oh my gosh. I love them so much. Vic going, that is a fantastic question. Is fluffy yaoi or toxic yaoi better? I love both. You know, I love some fluffy yaoi. I love some toxic yaoi. I love some in-between, you know, some angsty yaoi, some comforting yaoi. I don't discriminate. Annika says, I also love the chatting, even if I'm usually pretty quiet. It's helping me now, especially as I'm missing my danmei friend. Oh, yeah! Hey, I'm your danmei friend. Orion says, I love evil yaoi and evil yuri so much, too. I like when they're freaks. Absolutely. Absolutely. Chirong says, I like cannibalism toxic. Have you ever read, ethical cannibalism? Wei Wuxian's Wig says, can't forget the sexy yaoi. Indeed. Indeed. Yandere yaoi. Yeah. Yandere is leaning more into, like, the Ivantil stuff. Rose City Kimono says, you don't discriminate, but you do avoid mpreg. I personally I mean, I've read it. I've read some really good mpreg stuff. I just don't, a man being pregnant is not sexy to me. A woman being pregnant is not sexy to me. I think it can be beautiful, a lovely family story or whatever, but, like, I'm mostly here for the sexiness. You know what I mean? Wei Wuxian's Wig says, don't let Kate hear you saying that. Yeah, Kate's actually gonna come back. Even though I'm muted, she's gonna be like, I can feel a sense in the universe. I think the level of mpreg that I enjoy is the level in it of case file of how they're talking about how they want to impregnate each other. Kicked are about to be canceled by Kate. That's how I want to go out. Hey, and I am not here to... I've never really liked the saying yuck on anyone's yum. Like, but I am not here to discriminate, you know? If that's your thing, I love it. We can chat about it all you want. I'm here to listen. Brayley says, I don't know how you managed to stay so positive. Oh, thank you for being a member for 8 months, Brayley. I am a very happy, positive person, I think, because I'm very lucky to be surrounded by a lot of positivity. I am surrounded by Stitch, who's so positive, and if I ever am not feeling so good, Stitch can cheer me up right away. And my dad is also a really positive person, and this community is also so positive, so it's like, even if I do feel a little bit, feeling down a little bit, it's so easy to bounce back up, because there's so much positivity everywhere. Esper Lady says Kate feels a disturbance in the force when someone says something bad about mpreg. Oh my gosh. It's true. Esper Lady says, yes, Kictor, your positivity is the best. Yeah! If anyone needs positive vibes, I'm here to give them. Chirong says, I want to know where I can find an ethical cannibalism book. I'm trying to think. It's gotta exist somewhere. K Moment says, in all honesty, I will buy a manga just because it's in a clear wrapper. That is so funny. You're like, there's gotta be something in here for me. Toxic yaoi, old man yaoi, fluffy yaoi, all yaoi is good yaoi. Yes. One of those shirts, but it's like toxic, old man, fluffy, all these things, and then this is yaoi at the bottom. Oh my god. You know those shirts that were like, oh my god, like not to use Harry Potter as a reference, but it would be like Harry and Ginny and Ron and whatever, and it was like if you know, if you know. It's like toxic and old man and yandere and that's fucking funny. There's a type of yaoi for everyone. A shirt that says manhwa and manhwa and manhwa and manhwa and what's the other one? There's another manhwa, right? That's so funny. Wei Wuxian's wig has been a member for 10 months. Thank you so much. And says yaoi forever. Yes, and manga. Yes, yeah, manhwa and manhwa and manga. Manga and manhwa. Oh my. The 3 M's. That's so funny. Do you remember those shirts that would be like eat, sleep, play hockey, repeat? Like, oh my god. It's so funny how those were like older memes. Eat, sleep, read yaoi, repeat. Rose City Kimono says, if you wanted to see, I posted a pic in the community with your Hualien bag at the Portland Pride Parade. Oh, no way! How was the Pride Parade? That's awesome. Let me see. Oh, that's so awesome! Thanks for buying my bag. That's wicked. The little fox and ferret. Oh, dude! Your robe is so sick. It has guitars on it. That is awesome! Dude, hell yeah. You look amazing. Chirong says, I still see those shirts at my work. Eat, sleep, read, fanfic, repeat. Eat, sleep, Kector, repeat. It sounds like you're gonna eat me. Cannibalism. Spacey. Keep calm and yaoi on. We bring back that, like, old culture. Oh my god. Just in, like, but it's, like, in an ironic way, so it's funny, you know? Oh yeah, Dr. Sprout. Ethical cannibalism is in Tokyo Ghoul. L says, have you seen the game Date Everything? Yes, I have! I was curious about playing it, actually. Thought that could be fun to play with the chat. Keep calm and Omega kicked her on. Stop! Wizard of Moss says, I want Christianity Ruined the Harem shirt. Holy shit, Stitch is gonna find that so funny. Oh my god, that's terrible. That was from a chat we had on our members only stream. We were learning about harems. Oh my god. Shadow Moth says, the days when strangers would glomp you, free hug signs, yaoi paddles, and everyone lost the game. Ah! How could you? Yes. I remember the first con I went to, there was a glomp circle. And I remember being like, what the hell is a glomp circle? And then being like, I'm really glad I'm not in the glomp circle. I honestly don't think I've thought about the game since SakuraCon, because there was a guy holding a giant sign when you come down the escalators that said you just lost the game. Hell yeah, just Chi-Rong. Orion, Polycule is out, Harem is back in. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so funny. Xavian said, I used to taunt my brother by telling him I knew the way to be immune to losing the game. Oh my god. That would drive me crazy. Yeah, Brayley, at least from what I witnessed, there's like a circle, and it's like, if you join the circle, it's like you're kind of consenting to get jumped on, and then you kind of like run, you could like run across the circle and then like jump on someone, and it's like you jump on them and you like wrap your legs around them too, like, it's like a big, it's crazy. And it used to be a thing that would like happen commonly, like, you could be in fear of getting jumped on. Like a big tackling hug, yeah. Congrats on 3 years, Spacey. That's awesome. Yeah, it's super dangerous. It's like, it's crazy. That's why it doesn't happen these days. Like, I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it's like very frowned upon. Like, majority of people would be like, what the fuck, and like help you out if that happened, or talk to someone about it, you know? Cassandra says, I will get at least 1 or 2 of my friends through Modazushi eventually. I have a burning need to share that animated family tree Jin Ling uncle skit. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. Right? Isn't that such a good video? Miss Rosie comes in. I remember yaoi paddles. Stitch and I actually want to get a charcuterie board. That's a yaoi paddle, because you know charcuterie boards look like paddles, you know, but so then it's like you have all your fancy food on it and you don't realize that it says yaoi. Lexi, you come here. You come here, Lexi. You come here, Lexi. Come say goodbye to the people. Come here. Come here. Yeah, come here. You can see your head, kinda. I won't pick you up. I won't pick you up. You're okay. Okay, guys, I need to go for dinner. But thanks for coming to hang out and read. I love hanging out just as much as I love reading. So I love you guys. And Tuesday will be the members game night. So I will see the members, which is pretty much all of you, since Cucumber Salad's generosity and Sugar Kiss. I'll see some of you guys on Tuesday. All right, and stay tuned for the next, when the next reading will be. All right, bye! Oh my god, my button didn't work. Thank you for upgrading your membership, Xavian. Why is my button not working? Ah! Ah!